So I'd like to thank everybody for joining us tonight for this conversation on careers in the ag and food industry. My name is Scott Shealy. I am the executive director of the Lancaster County Agriculture Council. And this program is actually being presented as a part of the week of activities related to Lancaster County Agriculture Week. We actually began our week yesterday announcing a collaboration with the North Museum here in Lancaster, where we have developed some materials that can be used with young people in grades K through 8, and particularly with their parents and with people who might be providing uh, education that's extra and over beyond what they might be getting in school right now. One of the things that we were very clear on with that particular project is that we were also concerned about careers, and that we wanted to be sure that we talked about them in relation to the materials that have been presented, and that has happened. So I'll have a link on here where you can get those if you're interested somewhere down the line. So we saw this event then, which is the second day of our week, really being a time to talk a little bit more specifically about careers, both for people who are ag educators, but also for people who are in the business and who are concerned about the fact that when we look forward for the next 10 to 20 years, what we see is not real good. We see really the need to talk more about career pathways. So we put together this brief program, and I will say up front, we're just scratching the surface on this evening. But we wanted to do several things. One was I'll spend a little time in the very beginning talking about what the Department of Agriculture and the Commission for Agriculture Education has found out about careers, a little bit about how we come at the career conversation. There's a couple different ways that you can look at that, and I'll give you some idea of how we do that and what that might look like. And then we've asked two of our younger colleagues to walk us through two websites that have career information on it. A lot of times, young people really respond to the more visual, and these are both very good that way. At least one of the sites lists over 200 different jobs in agriculture. So they will kind of give us a guided tour of what those websites look like and give us any tips that they have as far as how to do that. And then we've asked Tim Wentz, who is with the Northeast Equipment Dealers Association and who runs one of the apprenticeships in the state relating to agriculture. It's the only one related to agriculture equipment repair people. But Tim is going to talk about not only that apprenticeship, but about apprenticeship in general, and about how we can actually connect apprenticeship with high schools. And again, it'll just scratch the surface, but we wanted to kind of give you a little hint in terms of how that goes. Hopefully, if we're good, we'll try to move through this in a way that we have some time for questions at the end as we go through it. Actually, we may pause at the end of each segment and then some time for broader questions at the end of it. But we'll have to manage our time. I promised you in the invitation to do this in an hour or so. And so we'll rely on that or so piece if we need to. See how it goes. So that's really the content of what we're going to do. And let me get started right away. So many of you have heard the expression of career pathways. And I think that what has happened is the definition of career pathways has been kind of hijacked by the education system. In the business world, when we talk about career pathways, we talk about how people make their way through a company in terms of a series of skill acquisitions. In other words, they learn more on the job. Companies pay for skills, and so that means promotions and into other types of jobs. And the pathway is the way people can kind of chart their way through the organizational structure. Um, Education tends to define career pathways in terms of courses that you have to take. And I'm not sure that how helpful that is, because a lot of times the training and the education that you need is not necessarily offered in formal education. There's many times where people learn their trade, people learn, what they need to know about their occupation from just doing it, or some other way that they can. Again, an apprenticeship is an example of that. I guess what I'm saying is we have to sort of shake ourselves of this idea that everything has to be done in a career pathway, in a education type of environment. So when you begin to talk about that in relation to the agriculture and food system, the other thing we have to remember is that agriculture and food is a system. It's not just farming. It's not just food processing. It's not just transportation. It's all of those things. And in fact, the way we define the ag and food system in Pennsylvania, it's also things like horticulture, like forest and wood products, like landscaping, veterinary services. These are all part of the ag and food system. And what we know, as we look through what we normally think of, food production, food processing, food distribution, consumer consumption of food, and if we put that together with these other aspects of it, we know that what binds them together in many cases are the skills that people need. It's not uncommon for, I heard the general manager at New Holland, which makes the farm equipment, say that they would hire anybody who grew up on a farm. And it was like, well, why? And the answer was because they know how to weld. And for him, that was the critical skill. Skills are transferable. Skills can jump across career pathways. We don't know where that's going to lead many times in our own personal lives. But, I think that it's very important to start talking about this whole matter of skill acquisition, how skills transfer into various career pathways, and what can we do to support people kind of building up their skill inventory in terms of what they have in terms of their own personal record. So if we look at that, industry across the industry as a whole, and we begin to look at the relative number of jobs that are needed, this is again where we, I think we get this reality check going that overall in Pennsylvania, and this is just Pennsylvania data, by the way, but production agriculture is not the biggest in terms of employment. Food processing is. Pennsylvania is a massive food processing industry. A lot of it has to do with its access to the markets on the East Coast. But the other thing that most people are surprised about is that the forest products industry in Pennsylvania is also huge. We have so many cabinet manufacturers. It's not just the people that grow the timber up along the northern tier, but it's also the people who make that into a useful product. And then again, in the system, somebody has to get the product to market. The wholesale piece of that, the people who buy the food and who are getting that out to the marketplace, they're incredibly important as well. And again, one of those other ones that's kind of forgotten is that landscaping. If you look at the number of people involved in landscaping, particularly around the big cities, it's a substantial number. And yet, most of landscape jobs tend to be catch as catch can. Many of them are taken by foreign labor, that kind of thing. So we've been trying to think more inclusively. When schools tell us that horticulture programs are not doing very well, that concerns us because that's really the backbone of, it's one piece of landscaping. So again, we have to kind of keep this in mind. It's a whole system. There are skills that are needed. Yes, we need people. You see the manufacturing piece is really small. Well, that's basically the New Holland farm equipment that's there. Veterinary services, we have, it's not just people who are doing large animal, but it's people, as I always say, that are doing puppies and kitties too. So again, kind of keep that visual in mind that this is where we're ultimately going to need the most people. And then the other thing that we've done, again, going back to this whole idea of skills and how skills kind of divide up within the industry, we've also noticed that there's kind of three levels of skills, and the occupations that are in them vary. So everybody wants to talk about the top. They want to talk about the scientific, the engineering, the management jobs. These are the agronomists, this is the soil scientists, the veterinarians, farm managers, but they're also the loan officers and people in agribusiness and the teachers. These are critically important jobs, and if we don't have them, we're just crippled. But again, putting things in perspective, the workforce is kind of like a pyramid. So at the top of the pyramid, there's fewer people. And so these are important career pathways, but we don't necessarily need a whole lot of folks to be in them. So this is where, in many cases, the best and the brightest, with a lot of STEM and math skills and that sort of thing. These are the people that go to four-year schools primarily, or go further than that, and move into the jobs that we would think of in this kind of scientific engineering and management level. The other ones that I think that are really intriguing right now are the ones in the middle. So these are the technical jobs. What we see here is that many of these jobs are reinvented jobs. They're jobs that have been out there before, but now the technology has made them such that, for example, somebody repairing a piece of agriculture equipment, they still carry their toolbox, but they also carry their computer as well. So that we need this kind of mix. Other jobs are actually new jobs. Veterinary technicians, are very important with our shortage of veterans or veterinarians, but they have moved in and helped fill some of that shortage. But again, they need it at a skill level. This is not people that are they're cleaning cages. This is people that are absolutely helping the veterinarian in terms of important things that need to get done with the animals. And again, new jobs, drone pilots. I mean, whoever thought 10 years ago we'd be using drones to map farmland and that sort of thing. So the industrial maintenance technician, the jobs for equipment technicians, all changing because of technology. And what we find is that these are jobs that probably do not need a college degree. Some might, but they definitely need training after high school. So, but where do we find that? Is that something we can go out and find in where the usual suspects are in terms of training? The answer is lots of times no. There are other areas, other ways that we have to find that training. So that becomes a challenge. And then the other part that I think gets forgotten is that this industry has a huge base of production workers. These are the farm workers. These are the equipment drivers, the machine operators, the landscapers, the greenhouse workers, the butchers, the bakers, probably not too many candlestick makers. But we need to have those folks as well. And, while they typically do not need to have higher education, they are being increasingly exposed to STEM. So that not too long ago, I was at a pig growing facility up in the middle part of the state. And the people who were the production workers there, everybody carried a laptop. Everybody knew how to scan the barcode on the pig's ear. and they could read the stuff that was coming out of the computer to tell them about the health and the what was going on with the pig. They need a worker who is at least uh, friendly in terms of using computers. So this is the other thing we need to think about. So we have this diverse industry. We have a bunch of different requirements, and within that, we have skills, that differ, and that we probably don't spend enough time with our production workers. Um, we probably have a system that leaves us down a lot of times in regard to the technical workers. And we still have a really good, though, pathway and a good system to train the scientific and engineering workers, but always more that can be done there. Again, it's just a really important concept. So when you start thinking about the workforce and its needs, think about the pyramid. Uh, the jobs that the Department of Agriculture has identified are different from the jobs that the Department of Labor identifies. Um, don't get me started on that one. So anyhow, but here's the ones that typically the commission has been rallying around, and also at the Ag Council. These are ones that we have been looking at as well. These are ones that in some cases they overlap with general manufacturing, but in other cases, like a food batch maker, I mean, it's unique to food manufacturing, and it's one of the most in-demand jobs that they have there. Packaging machine operator is probably the biggest demand in food manufacturing, but whoever talks about it. So, I mean, I think, we have a lot of issue there in terms of education. The ladies that are going to follow me are going to talk about where you can get some more detail on all this. So what we have done when I was with the department, and also kind of following my connection over to the Commission for Agriculture Education, we have put together some graphics which begin to talk about career pathways, how you move from one level to another level to another level. And this was one of the ones that we put together for ag production. And one of the things that you see here is that you can move up, but you can move laterally as well. Sometimes your skills take you into other areas that are not necessarily a step up and require more education, but they can be applied in a different way. So, it's here's another one. This is one that we put together for the landscaping industry. Lots of opportunities here, and trying to find a way to operationalize these and make them real is actually part of the challenge. So just a couple of fast facts. We have 150, more than 150 high school ag programs around the Commonwealth. More than 12,000 people, I think might be even higher than that, Mr. Brammer, but involved in FFA. FFA is in this whole ag system, with the fact that we have classroom, we have the FFA structure, but we also have the ability to do SAEs where people can do things experientially. I think it's a great system. And we are trying to make sure that gets preserved, particularly through the COVID stuff. 2 institutions of higher education that provide graduates in ag and food careers, but there's a bunch of small ones too that are around that do all kinds of other things in terms of agriculture sustainability, veterinary tech. There's many others that are out and around. So again, some information there if you'd like to. And again, I'll be happy to send any of this to you. But those are just a couple of ideas that we need to think of the industry broadly. We need to think of the fact that occupations are driven by skills. Skills move. You can move with skills, and we need to think about that. The idea that a lot of kids have, which is that they're going to start at the top, you need to kind of get them out of that, but start talking about, but in 5 years you could be at a good place, and here's the way the pathway works. I think in some ways that's the way we have to approach kids, that you can get that salary, but you're going to have to work for it a little bit. So let me wrap up there. I think I'm going to stop and maybe ask you to, if you have any questions, if you could put the questions in the chat box. That would be helpful. And then we'll make sure, we'll keep that as a placeholder and we'll come back to that in the end. But I want to give these ladies a chance to do their thing in terms of giving us a tour of these two other websites that actually provide us with some additional information. So Elena, I'm going to stop sharing and maybe you can start.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, thank you, Dr. Shealy, for having me this evening and letting me have the opportunity to be able to share this website with each and every one of you. Like Dr. Shealy said, my name is Elena Harrell, and I'm serving as the Pennsylvania FFA State Reporter this year. I just graduated from Anvil-Cleona High School last June, where I was a member of the Little Dutchman FFA chapter. And then about a week after I graduated, I was elected by my peers to serve as a state officer, and I am deferring my college and career this year to serve the Pennsylvania FFA Association and be an advocate for agriculture education, the FFA, and agriculture. So I'm excited to be able to see all of you here on this call this morning, and I hope that you learned a little bit of something about the Ag Explorer website. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here and get started. So as you can see here, this is the Ag Explorer website. A little bit of background about this website: it was a collaboration between National FFA and Discovery Education. Their goal was to provide a website for teachers, students, parents, and community members to be able to learn more about careers in agriculture. And like Dr. Shealy said, there's over 200 agricultural careers that are featured in this website, which is extremely exciting because I know there are probably many more, but that is a large amount of careers that is documented on this website. So when we go on to this homepage here, it is split up into career focus areas. So there are 9 career focus areas consisting of agribusiness systems, agricultural education, animal systems, biotechnology systems, environmental service systems, food production processing systems, natural resources systems, plant systems, power structural and technical systems. So it kind of breaks the careers up into their subcategories. And if we go ahead and click on one, just for an example here, this one is agribusiness systems. So under each career focus area, there is a small description. So as you can see, this one says, are you a natural born leader? Do you enjoy coordinating people and activities to make sure things run smoothly? Careers in this pathway connect the business world with the agriculture world by determining how to effectively use resources for profit. So it kind of is something that is supposed to catch the student's eye. It's just a little bit of a description so they can see if maybe they have some strong suits that would help them in that career. Going hand in hand with that, there is also a short video that is included with each career focus area. So here, I'll just play like a few seconds.
Whether you're interested in communications,
kind of
marketing,
get an idea.
sales, research and development.
There are so many career paths in agriculture that are not associated with driving the tractor, putting the seed in the ground.
By 2030, our food supply demand is expected to grow by 35%. The task of feeding the globe falls squarely on those prepared to build healthy local communities, a strong nation, and a sustainable world.
So that's just a few clips of that video, and as you can see, it's using sponsors of the FFA and is something that a lot of FFA members, it would catch their eye. A lot of students love videos. It's something that's very interesting to them. Another thing that is underneath a career focus area is SAE ideas. So most of you probably know what an SAE stands for, but I'll just give a little bit of a review in case some people don't on here. But it stands for Supervised Agricultural Experience. And an SAE is a requirement for all FFA members. And the goal of an SAE project is to fulfill the 3-circle model of FFA and take what students learn in the classroom and apply it to real life. Now, for some FFA members, it can be a little challenging to come up with an SAE project that will correlate with their future. So having this aspect on this website is extremely helpful for FFA members because it gives them an idea of what they could do for an SAE project that correlates with their career focus area. So as we can see under agribusiness here, there are things like operate a custom combining service, operate a custom heifer raising service, and honestly, the list goes on. And this is a great resource that students can use and teachers can actually print out and cut out and have their own hand for their students to use when they are trying to come up with a new supervised agricultural experience project. In addition to the SAE ideas, at the bottom of the page, there is a career spotlight. The career spotlight is able to be filtered under different categories like environment, education, salary, and outlook. And honestly, the career list under agribusiness goes on almost forever, I feel like. I counted and there's about 40 different careers under agribusiness. So students are able to just scroll through these careers, see if any of these kind of catch their eye and if they're interesting to them. So as you can see, it just keeps going. And if we click on one here, let's say we click on graphic designer, it has just a short description there, talks about different things that they would have to do in that job, different requirements, and then it tells them the responsibilities. So for a graphic designer, it has like develop creative concepts for business marketing ideas, have a knowledge of various design and software tools, be aware of changes, rules, regulations to context, and the list just keeps going. It also over here has a future job market outlook, which is extremely helpful for students just because they might be interested in a job, but there might not be the greatest job outlook. So having this little thing here is very helpful so they can use that as a visual representation. Then they also have typical employers. It helps them know maybe who would be able to employ them, what businesses they could look out for that would possibly be looking for someone in that job field. Recommended high school courses. This helps them to be able to shape their high school education around their possible future job outlook. So maybe for this particular job category, they would focus on agricultural education, English, mathematics, art, design, and computer skills. And this would be a huge help for them as they progress into their future. Then there's suggested professional organizations and associations. This is a great aspect of this website that helps students know what organizations they should become involved in as they are preparing for their future occupation. It also includes education and training required, which is pretty self-explanatory. Whether or not you need to go to college, you need your GED, high school diploma, things like that. And it also, if you click on this under here, it takes you to another website called agcareers.com, and that helps students find a college or university that would have the job or the degree that they're looking for, which is a really cool feature of this website. And then it also has here the average annual full-time salary, which is just a little bit of something to help them kind of have a goal, I guess, for the future. And then down here it has see available jobs, which will take us right back to the agcareers.com and help them see the available jobs under that category, which is actually extremely interesting because it shows them businesses that are looking for jobs currently right now. So as we can see right here, just 18 hours ago, Syngenta Seeds was looking for a communication, branding, and content specialist. So they're able to go on there and see almost right away what different businesses and agribusinesses are looking for employees in that job category. And it actually kind of has an algorithm. Once you start clicking on different careers, it brings down related careers that they possibly would be interested in down here, which I think is really interesting because it kind of picks up on what they're interested in and develops a little bit of a list of careers for them. So not only is this website great for students when they're trying to find out if they're interested in agriculture or they want to have a place in agriculture, but it's also extremely helpful for teachers and educators. So one resource that is important for educators is educator resources. So as you can see here, the Ag Explorer has developed educator resources that teachers and educators can use in the classroom. So they have classroom activities for grades 6 through 10. I'll click on one of these here so we can get a good representation of what this is. But it's basically like a lesson plan spelled out with a time requirement, everything that a teacher needs. And this is called Battle of the Best Agricultural Careers. So this is a great way that students can log on to this website and kind of familiarize themselves with it. It's kind of like a virtual web quest or a tour. And as you can see, it has everything down to the equipment and supplies as needed, the lesson plan, their common core that they would be using in this. So it's extremely helpful for teachers if they want to use this as an educational resource. There's also implementation guides. So if teachers are interested in implementing this into their curriculum or into their classroom, there's actually a guide that students and teachers can use to align this with their agricultural education. So we'll just scroll through this a little bit so we can familiarize ourselves with that. Again, it has the Common Core listed, a lot of speaking, listening, literacy. And last but not least, we have virtual field trip guides. So I'll get to this a little bit later in my presentation here, but the Ag Explorer offers virtual field trips, and going hand in hand with that are guides. So if we click on this here, it will take us to a virtual field trip. And this one goes along with Purdue University and is Careers with Animals Introduction. So as we can see, this field trip guide would go hand in hand with some video lessons and would help students be able to watch a video up on the screen while also having a worksheet to work on in front of them, which is extremely helpful for teachers when they want to keep them engaged with the video and not have them kind of doze off during the video. So now if we're going to move on to Career Finder, this is more geared towards students, but I also find it extremely interesting to kind of play around with. This is something that I actually used personally when I was in high school. I was someone that always had a love and passion for agriculture and knew that I wanted to have a place in the industry. I just didn't know what job would work for me. So I actually used the Career Finder to help find an area of agriculture that I would be interested in. So basically what this is it asks a series of questions to students, and they're able to go through this series of questions and talk about things that they like, they're interested in, and it will compile all their answers together and come up with a list of career opportunities that they are interested in. So for example, it goes down to even the education. So if I click on this, it said, which of the following would best describe your education goals? So students are able to pick if they would just like to complete high school and any applicable on-site training, or if they would like to learn a bachelor's degree or a 4-year college level program, if they want to do master's or a doctorate, or if they want to earn an associate's. So they're able to go through that and pick different things that they would like for their career, different interests, skills, career aspirations, and goals, and it will compile all of those into a career that would fit well for them. So even if you're not a student and you're on here watching, I encourage you to go check this out. It's kind of fun to play around with, and maybe you will go through and see if that aligns up with the career you're in today. Maybe it won't, and maybe you'll want to change your career. But it's just a cool aspect to this website that's extremely helpful for students to use. Moving on to the virtual field trip. This is something that I had kind of mentioned earlier, but I'm going to dive into deeper right now. It's a virtual field trip element of this website that teachers can use and show videos, and then students can have a worksheet where they go and fill it out as they go along. So first here and at the top, right now they are partnering with Tractor Supply Company so they can learn more about Tractor Supply, and the idea is from dog food to, it's a new idea, from dog food from idea to dog bowl. So it helps them meet the team of Tractor Supply and learn more about what is going on in Tractor Supply in the marketing side and the warehouse area. And it looks really interesting for students to be able to use. As you can see, it has different chapters, different video series. So this would be used over maybe a week period or throughout a few months if teachers were interested in that. And then it goes right along with the classroom activity. So there's an educator guide, student handbooks. Down here are a few more examples of virtual field trips. There's John Deere, STEM careers with Zoetis, Syngenta, which is actually one that I had used when I was in my personal home chapter in the high school. We watched a few of the Syngenta videos and they were actually really interesting and exciting to watch. It really opened my eyes up to the scientific side of agriculture and how diverse agriculture can be. Because like Dr. Shealy said, a lot of us see the surface of agriculture, but once we dive deeper, the opportunities are endless, and it's really interesting to see that. We also can see something by Cargill and Ford Motor Company. So there's honestly all aspects that can cater to all student interests and all agricultural education courses, and is a very good resource for teachers to be able to use. And moving on, this allows us to sign up for updates. So we're able to pick which grade band works well if we're a teacher, or maybe we have children that are in specific grade bands. And we also can pick different interests. So let's say our students have an interest in language arts or social studies. We can click on those things and it will actually email us specific materials that go along with those areas, which is extremely helpful, I would say. So that's about all I have for today. I tried to not go too deep into it. There's a lot of resources and information in this, and just in the thought of time, I don't want to go on forever about this. But if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I also will be dropping the link to this website and my email in the chat, so feel free to reach out to me after this. And thank you again for letting me kind of give you a little bit of an overview of what this website is. And I hope that in the future you're able to use this as a resource, either in your classroom, with your students, or with your children or grandkids, anything of that sort. So thank you for having me again here today.
Yeah, thanks, Elena. Really good job. So good. And so next we're going to turn to Nicole. And Nicole, you need to tell people a little bit about how you got involved in this, because it's a little unique in terms of your situation. But Nicole's going to present another web-based opportunity to do career development. So are you ready to roll, Nicole?
I am. And I'm just going to put the link to the website in the chat now in case my internet gets really slow, which happens sometimes. But good evening, everyone. My name is Nicole Geis. I'm a senior at Penn State majoring in agriculture and extension education. And for the past 2 summers, I've been an intern with the Pennsylvania Friends of Agriculture Foundation, which is the nonprofit of the Pennsylvania Farm Bureau. And specifically last summer, I was able to work with the Grow PA Ag Workforce Development Committee to work on the Ag and Food Careers in PA website. So tonight I'm going to give you a little bit of a virtual tour. So this is our homepage here. I would encourage you to check out this video in your free time. It's one of my favorite parts of the website. And it's just different industry employees talking about why they like their agriculture career in 1 word or less. And also, I'll just draw your attention to this heading here, agriculture is more than farming. This was kind of our mantra as we went through designing and updating the website this summer. So I'll go into some more specific aspects of the website. There are these tabs across the top, and we'll go through each one very quickly. So the Ag and Food Careers list is divided into 6 different clusters. So we have Ag Business, Agriculture Mechanics, Animal Science, Environmental Science, Food Science, and Plant Science. And if you just hover over these menus, it'll bring up the list of careers. I'm going to go into Animal Science specifically. Every career page looks the same. It has the title at the top, There will be a video on the left-hand side and an infographic on the right-hand side that kind of summarizes the information from the video. And I just want to play you a short clip from this video about a poultry veterinarian.
Hi, my name's Alex, and I'm a poultry veterinarian, which literally means I'm a chicken doctor. What I love about being a chicken doctor is that I get to fix problems. And more importantly than fix problems, I get to prevent problems. Some of the major responsibilities of my job are to come up with preventative healthcare plans regarding vaccines, nutrition, and if necessary, I also investigate bird health concerns. Every day, I ensure bird health and welfare while working at the company that I work for.
So that's just a little bit of the video. Each video is a little different, but mostly the employees and the industry professionals talk about their interests, courses they took in high school, their day-to-day responsibilities, and most importantly, why they love their career. So if you keep scrolling, there's even more information in paragraph format just about responsibilities, education requirements, and this may look similar to the Ag Explorer website, and that's because if it's not broke, we don't want to fix it. And so we beg, borrow, and steal. And so this is just kind of all that same information compiled in one place and specific to Pennsylvania. So even more information on this page is salary. So all of our pages link to ONET online. And so you can see salary information for Pennsylvania and the United States for each career. And the projected job outgrowth, again, links to the same website, so you can look more at that. And then here is Ag Explorer at the bottom. Each career also comes with a one-pager that kind of summarizes the different information on the page, but also maybe adds a little bit more about relevant organizations and professional organizations students can be involved with. And these are also great just for teachers to print out and stick on a bulletin board or in the hallway. And I'll mention that all of our careers come from that in-demand list from the Department of Agriculture that Scott was talking about. So you'll see a lot of overlap here too. The next tab is the Career Resources tab. So of course we have Ag Explorer here at the top. There's some more reading from the Department of Agriculture on the Workforce Development Initiative. We talked about ONET Online, which has that salary and job outlook information. There's some more lesson plans and resources from the Pennsylvania Farm Bureau, and you can find them on their website, as well as Journey 2050 and the USDA Living Science are all great resources for more information about agriculture careers. The Educator Resources tab is a brand new tab to this website, and so this is the one I'm most excited about and helped develop the most this summer. It has 4 web scavenger hunts, 2 at the middle school level and 2 at the high school level. And these web scavenger hunts ask the students to watch the videos, answer a question, maybe go look for some outside information to dive further into an agricultural topic that was discussed. And they come in PDF format here, but also Google Doc format here. So if you're a Google school, these are easy to download and push out through Google Classroom. So here's an example of the middle school web scavenger hunt. Again, all the videos are linked right on the worksheet. You just have the students click on the link, watch the video. The activities vary. So here, this one's asking the students to make a tweet. This one's asking the students to take the career interest survey that's on agexplorer.com and then report their results. And there's also some compare and contrast questions about horticulture and aquaculture based on topics mentioned in the videos. So all of our web scavenger hunts meet Pennsylvania Department of Education standards, and you can find all of those in that PDF there. And not just standards from environment and ecology and the workforce standards, but also like math, reading, and science. Also, there's a lesson bank here for teachers, and these come from National Ag in the Classroom. So anything from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. And if you click on these links, it'll take you right to the curriculum matrix. The lesson plan's pre-done. All the materials you need are there. You just click print and go. And again, here are some more programs for ag careers. This one comes from Ag Choice. Again, we mentioned Journey 2050. On our About tab, you can get in contact with the Workforce Development Committee through the contact form. If teachers are using the web scavenger hunts in their classroom, you can also obtain the answer keys by contacting us through this form. We're happy to give those to you. And the very last tab here is the search tab. This is really neat because you can search a few different ways. So you can search by like academic subject. So maybe a student is interested in math, but they don't know what ag careers match up to math. So you can search for math. It'll say, oh, maybe you should be an accounting manager or a business development director. And they can go to those pages right from there. Or maybe a student is interested in plants, but they're not sure which careers might be right for them. So they can type in plants. It comes up nursery manager, floral designer, orchard manager, and many more. So that's just one way to get students interacting with the website. Maybe if they aren't quite sure at the beginning, this is a way to kind of help narrow that search for them. So that's pretty much the Ag and Food Careers website in a nutshell. I will also stick my email in the chat and I'm happy to answer any questions. And if you have questions specifically about the website, you can also put those in the chat and I'm happy to answer.
So these ladies are going to stay on the line and again, put your questions in the chat. We'll have some time at the end where we can answer them. You know, thanks to both of you for doing this for us. You know, the key about this is that it's, as Nicole said, it's probably been invented already. We don't need to keep reinventing it over and over and over again. And that's where I think there's been this collaboration where we're sharing resources now. And we just need to make sure that as new information comes in, we're able to incorporate it and to update the stuff that's there. And so Nicole and her group that worked over the summer as interns did a great job of pulling all this together. So again, put your questions in the chat. Let's move on. One of the other resources that's out there is apprenticeship. And Tim Wentz has been leading an apprenticeship for the last couple of years, but trying to make it more closely connected with schools. So let me turn it over to Tim Wentz, who has a presentation and can kind of drill down a little bit more on the issues and what's involved. Tim?
Thank you, Scott. Let's see. A little technically challenged, but look, can everybody see what I've got there? Good. So I got to thank Scott for his work and help. With his help and work and guidance, we established a apprenticeship program for agricultural technicians. And in my opinion, you know, the Europeans have been doing this for a very long time. And the apprenticeship, pre-apprenticeship programs are an outstanding pathway to rewarding family sustaining career. You can make a nice income as an equipment technician and in agriculture in general. So as Scott said, my name is Tim Wentz. I'm the field director for the Northeast Equipment Dealers Association. Nicole and Elena referenced, and Scott also, they all referenced that, you know, in the future, we're going to need more than what we have. So, you know, we're looking at anywhere from 50 to 100 new technicians in Pennsylvania that we're going to need, and virtually every dealership that I've been at could use more. I haven't been at one that told me they have enough. So I suspect that number is a very conservative one. the average age of our technicians is getting up into the 50s. So we're going to have some retirements. We're going to have lots of turnover coming. And I really suspect and fear that, actually, I think fear is probably the best word, that we're just not going to have enough technicians in our qualified technicians in the workplace to take care of the equipment needs that we have in the future. So apprenticeship is built by the industry. The industry establishes the competencies. Ours is there's three kinds of apprentice. There's the traditional where you work on the job so many hours, you take X number of courses, and you just proceed through that, basically checking off the blocks. There's a hybrid, which is basically the coursework, on-the-job training, and then some competency tests mixed in. Ours is our apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship programs are 100% competency based. So the list that you see on the screen is what we're focusing on, and the interpersonal skills, the problem solving, and critical thinking are probably the two biggest items that we have. An agricultural equipment technician needs to understand diesel. They need to understand electronics, electrical systems. They need to understand power systems, and we're increasingly seeing, and it won't be very long till we see electric powered autonomous tractors in the field. So there's going to be lots of technology coming down our pike. We need to be prepared for it. As I said, our program is competency-based and can be completed at the pace of the learner. You get out of it what you put in it. It's a minimum of 1 year, so any of those skills that you might have mastered in some other place, whether it be the farm, the military, high school, turning wrenches with your buddy in the car, in the garage, they all carry over into the equipment business. So the apprentice in the full apprenticeship program is hired. They're an employee by the company. They're receiving wages as they work. And as they demonstrate they've mastered a skill, pass the validation test, but we have both written and performance, they move on. The apprenticeship, the apprentice is supported by the manufacturer, mentor at the company, and we encourage them to take advantage of all the resources that are available from industry professionals, manufacturers, technical education providers. We've done a pretty extensive job at locating resources. If you happen to be weak on electronics, okay, let's get you up to speed there. Here's the coursework that's available for you to do that. If you've already mastered the diesel, you don't need to take that. So we've built in a tremendous amount of flexibility into this program, and I'm really happy with it. On completion of the program, passing the tests, you get a journeyman's certificate from the Department of Labor, and you can take that anywhere. I think probably the most exciting thing for me is the opportunity for pre-apprenticeship. And that's a place where students can come, even adults could, but it's primarily geared towards the K through 12 people, students. And it's an opportunity for them to explore the career, get a taste for it. Ours is based 100% on the full apprenticeship program. There's no requirement for employment, so you can master those skills, either at the dealership, at home, in the classroom. We've tried to be as flexible as we can with that. You get credit for the skills, the validated skills that you've mastered. And you can actually come into the full apprenticeship program in an advanced placement. So it really matches up very well with your SAEs, and that we've built it. The students that are in Ag Mech programs, there's lots of crosswalk and common curriculum. So I invite all of those students to take, well, any Ag student, but more especially those that are interested in Ag mechanics. So just to give you some idea how this works, we've set up a website. It's www.nitaapprentice.com. I'll put that in the chat box. And that's kind of the foundation of our apprenticeship program. It's we've intentionally made this a cooperative effort where the teachers, the students, and mentors can all share the same account on the website. All the students' progress is reported in that website, and we can keep it there. The teacher can monitor, approve, and as well as the mentor. So it's meant to be the communication platform and support tool for basically everyone that's involved in the program. So Binkley&Hurst, Deer Country, Farm and Lawn, Hoover's, Weaver. We have a number of dealerships in the Lancaster area and throughout Pennsylvania. So I'm really excited about the opportunity. The thing that I'm the most excited about in our apprenticeship programs, both the pre-apprenticeship and the full apprenticeship, is that it's competency based, and those tests were developed by the dealers themselves. We took their leading technicians and service managers. They identified the skills that they need in the shop, and they actually built the tests. And with NACTI's help, we were able to, they helped us build the test. They helped us validate the test. They helped us throw out the questions that were bad, reword the questions that needed work. So we spent a tremendous amount of time. It actually was probably, Scott, I think 2.5 years till we got done through that process. So there's a tremendous amount of, I don't want to know how many man hours we have invested in that, but it was a tremendous amount. So all of that said, those competency tests are valid tests. They if your student passes it, they get credit, they move on. It's pretty straightforward. So if anybody wants the blueprints, I can help you with those. One of the challenges that we ran into when we went to the teachers, and we're still working through it, is that the lack of specific performance-based curriculum in the current Ag Mech programs and Ag programs. So there's limited opportunity for the teachers to get involved, to master the skills that we want them to teach. And not every school Ag program is the same. So you may be teaching or so on and so forth. The management and communication, I think we've done a pretty good job with that website. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but we've got a committed webmaster and we're committed to making it work for you. So we recognize we just went through the challenges, and here are the solutions that we're working with. We are working really hard with the professional development office, the Ag Teachers Development Office, to teach the teacher professional development opportunities. We've gone out. Hydraulics is a curriculum that we didn't have curriculum for in the current environment. So we've gone out and built that. We're looking for opportunities to expand that into a teacher-led cooperative effort. We've made opportunities and solicited dealers for shadowing experiences for the teachers and students. And we're constantly working with the Department of Ed, Department of Agriculture to make sure that the program is moving forward and that we've really got top quality, first quality stuff. It's the only thing it's important to us that when students apprentice graduate, the only thing that really matters is, can they do the job? And that's what farmers are counting on them to do. That's what dealers are counting on them to do. We want them to do the job. We want them to do it right. We want them to be well compensated. I think from an apprenticeship point of view, if I can get somebody to pay me while I'm learning and pay for my tuition, that's a win-win-win. And you know, I'm not going into debt. It's you know, I'm earning, I'm learning, get my hands dirty. We're not, and so I'm happy to answer any of your any questions that you might have. Hopefully, I didn't run through that too fast, but Scott said we were going to stay on an hour, so I tried to get through there as close as we could.
Well, so we're sort of at the or so part right now, so we're good. So if you would stop sharing, and then I think we're going to open it up for questions. What I didn't tell all of you is that you can actually unmute yourselves. So this would be the time to do that if you have a question. We didn't really have too much in the chat box, but all of the people who presented are standing by and would be happy to take your questions. The one thing that I can tell you, just as a parent, when I think about apprenticeship, Tim mentioned that the person, the employer where you're doing the training must hire you. So you're actually hired as an employee. And then while you're an employee, you have a mentor on the job, and your employer pays your bill in terms of the education. And as a parent, I can tell you, that sounds pretty good. Any other questions? So on the screen, you see my contact information. A lot of you know how to contact me through the commission or through the Ag Council, and we'll be happy to follow up. This tape, as I said, we are recording this, and if you want to make this tape available to other groups or other people that you work with, happy to do that. This session was sponsored by Blake & Thomas, which is a law firm here in Lancaster, but also New Holland, North America. They're very interested in this. They need people out at the factory too. And so they have a vested interest. And Mid-Atlantic Farm Credit was also one of the entities involved. If you are interested in a recording, you should be able to find that after next week on the Lancaster Ag Council website. And that would be probably the best way to do it. Or again, you can email me. So any other last minute comments?
Scott, let me just add one thought. And thank you for all the presentations tonight, very enlightening. As critical as these are, and it's wonderful that we've really developed all of these resources online, beyond how important it can be for the teachers, I want to underscore that in this day and age, so much more teaching is going on in the home because of the situation. And the more that we can extend this information to the parents, the better. We know that one of the main wishes and hopes of parents is to have kids find an occupation nearby. to keep the family together. And we're blessed in Pennsylvania with all of those opportunities. And it's one more motivation to parents to get involved with educating and helping their young folks take this journey of discovery to careers. And so the more we can extend these resources and motivate parents and make them aware of their availability, I think the faster all of this will move forward.
Great. Sounds good, Gary. Let's give all of our presenters, Elena, Nicole, and Tim, let's give them one of these. Thanks to all. And again, we'll be following up on this, but as Gary said, we can't depend on other people to do this. We as parents and grandparents, have to get involved as well. And we'll be looking both at the Commission for Ag Ed and in Lancaster County Ag Council for ways to push that out and to get more involvement in the issue of ag careers. We need so many people in the next 10 years. The numbers are staggering. And we need to make sure that we have people pursuing these career pathways. So thank you for joining us tonight, and wish you a good evening and a good day tomorrow. Thank you.